Welcome to Face to Face, connecting theater makers to the public, a program from the Legacy Theater and socialdistancetheater.org. Welcome to another episode of Face to Face. I am delighted to be here with Kristin Huffman. She is a Broadway star as well as the founder and artistic director of the New Paradigm Theater, which is just an outstanding resource for actors and students alike. So Kristin, welcome. And now you have the New Paradigm Theater Company. So what were the steps leading up to your epiphany that this was what you were going to do?
That was less known to me. I never really thought I would start my own nonprofit. When I was Miss Ohio and a runner-up to Miss America, and my platform issue was, how do you get more people involved in local charities, altruistic ideas? And there are tons of great charities out there. So I was looking more in terms of social justice nonprofits. I think it was because I did so much regional theater, at least 20 years of regional theater, and some of those theater companies are still thriving, and some of them went under. And I could see the writing on the wall for new theater companies to approach it a little differently, to tie it into the community, not just in terms of come see our show, but in terms of educating young people to understand that you can use theater as a tool to make a connection to a social justice issue in the community. So that's part of the new, and also that we were very social media savvy right away, and video and so forth, which segues nicely into our gala. But that, it just became very obvious that if theater was going to continue, who could plan for this pandemic? But still, that something like this could happen, then you need to be savvy and be able to move and operate in the community differently. So I presented it to a couple of who are now board members, and they like the idea, they like the marketing behind it, they like the concept. And since 2012, then, we've been kind of moving in that direction. We don't have a home base. We rent out various spaces to rehearse and to perform, but we partner with a lot of other nonprofit theater companies or artistic groups or social justice things. So it's grown, but I don't think I ever really thought I was going to do that.
And can you describe typical programming, pre-pandemic programming of your theater company?
Absolutely. We do a summer main stage production. This year it would have been Footloose, and we postponed it till next year. And the summer project always, like, we started with Oliver, and then Peter Pan, and then Hunchback of Notre Dame, and last year Bye Bye Birdie. It always ties into a local social justice nonprofit or something that aligns with the show. Bye Bye Birdie, it was the veterans, right? And then we can help and raise a little bit of money for them as well and draw attention to them. We do a holiday show, which you were lovely enough to loan us some costumes for. And then we do So You Want to Be a Broadway Star, which is an educational program, big masterclass, where we bring in casting directors and New York agents and so forth, and they give great feedback to anyone who comes to perform for them. And then we do, with the Norwalk Symphony Orchestra, the last 2 years, we've done a concert version of West Side Story, and then this year South Pacific. So those are our big main stage things. We're also in development for a New Works Festival before pandemic, so we may have to slow that down a little bit, but who knows? I mean, a lot of what we do is online and able to pivot.
So how is your programming continuing at this time?
Online, like so many other people. We're doing Saturday Spotlight, which is free every Saturday or every other Saturday. We have a pro come, and like this tonight, Saturday, we're doing a professional stuntman. And then, we had the director of ABC Nightly News with David Muir, and they just talk for half an hour and answer questions about their career. And then we also have what's called Conversations with Keely on BroadwayWorld.com. Keely is one of our NPT youth. We have a youth board of directors and an adult board. We've done that for a few years now. We go into New York or various places and interview Broadway and film and TV or mayors or leaders in the community, and we ask them, what advice would you give to young leaders? So that's a web show that's exclusive to BroadwayWorld.com, and then we do that. We've turned that into, we're calling it Coronacation with Keely now. So we're asking people how they're staying creative during Corona. And then, we have our gala coming up, and that's going to be June the 7th, Sunday, June the 7th, and we're calling it, what are we calling it? Grub gala, and Grease, because that's the night of the big Grease sing along on CBS. So we're like piggybacking off of that. And we have a chef who's gonna come in, and he's going to, for the first half hour, show everybody how to make one of the things that they talk about in Grease, which is a double polar burger with a soda, cherry soda, and a chocolate. So everybody will get their ingredients, and they will make it along with him in the first half hour. And people will take pictures of it, and whatever picture will get a prize, and best picture. And then our gala will be the next hour. And that'll be all online streaming, Facebook, YouTube. And then you can stay and watch if you want, if you like Grease, and sing along with Grease after that.
And you're a remarkable actress and singer. And I loved hearing the story of how you came to be on the Broadway stage in The Company of Company. Can you tell us a bit about that experience?
Yes, I tell all my students at the University of Hartford this as well, and my home studio students. It really, and it is about networking. It's about who you know. It's about showing up and doing the work just consistently. So, I had years of doing regional theater all over the place, and had been able to make some connections with casting directors, because that's what you have to do. And I was called in for company because they wanted singer and people who played instruments as well, because I took a casting director class with Telsey Casting, and they knew the woman that I had taken the class with had also been a music education undergrad like me, so she knew I played a lot of instruments, called me in for that, and I played my flute. I did my reading, I did my singing, it all went really well, and then she looked at me, and again, I play flute and piano, that's the instruments, and piccolo, that's what I play, and she looked at me at the end of the audition with the director there, and she said, yes, and Kristin also plays the saxophone, which is the same fingering as flute. I didn't at that point, and I went, uh-huh. And she knew that everything had lined up in that audition, and just that I would be able to pull off learning the saxophone. Now, we had to also play for Mr. Sondheim a month later, so I freaked out and took lessons like 2 times a week, trying to actually learn the saxophone. It is not easy, by the way, but it was passable. I didn't have to play for Mr. Sondheim, but I did have to play flute, sax, and piccolo in the show.
Phenomenal. That's great. Yeah, I remember going to an audition for Cabaret and telling them that I could play the clarinet. Now I'm a bassoonist, but I thought, well, I could learn the clarinet. But, oh my gosh. So I ended up playing by ear something in the audition, and they're like, oh, how long have you taken? And I said, well, I just started this weekend. And they're like, next.
No, but wow, that you could just do that. Oh my gosh, I'm very impressed.
Back in the old days, the fearless old days. Oh, that's great. So up to the point before you got your Broadway credit, how did you kind of step into theater? How old were you when you first knew that this was what you wanted to do?
Wow. My mom and dad, my dad's a Lutheran minister and my mom's a choir director, and she also was a junior high music teacher, and they sang. They did a show called Two Music Lovers, TWO and TO, and they would do it for various charities and so forth. And then when my brother and I were born, we called it Four Music Lovers, four and the FO. So we were singing since we could just stand up, It was the cute little feature with the little kid and so there wasn't really an option of whether you would get nervous, you would just do this. And we learned to, we sang 4-part harmony. I mean, we turned into something. And then we just kept going. I took flute lessons when I was in 4th grade. I took drama lessons, some dance. I wish I had taken longer. I think I just had a lot of energy, and my parents were like trying to, help me meter that out a little bit. But I think I always knew I wanted to be a teacher or in music. My mom encouraged me to get a music ed undergrad. She said, so you have something to fall back on. But my entire career has been teaching and performing at the same time. I love both of them, and I'm glad that I learned that and went to a school where I could do both things. So I'm going to say, since they stuck me on stage and it turned into something I was okay at.
Oh, that's so fun. That's so fun. I love it. And you're so creative. You're always thinking of just fabulous ways to engage people and engage causes and do your art. I love it. So how do people find you?
We have obviously our website. So it's nptheater with an re.org. I'm sure you'll put that up on the screen. And there's obviously, going to be information about the gala and other various things. We also have a YouTube station. If you just put in NP Theater or the New Paradigm Theater, I think we have two. We have a lot of stuff on there. So that's how they can find us. Best way, though, is probably through either, and we have Instagram. The kids take care of all that. Instagram and what do you call it? Twitter. I do mostly the Facebook stuff.
That's great. Is there anything else that you'd like to share with our audiences at this time?
You know what? I just really appreciate you and your theater company and just the camaraderie and the shining a spotlight on what other people are doing, as well as the good work that you are doing with your theater company. So I just really appreciate it. So does the rest of our theater company. And hopefully at some point we'll have a chance to physically work together again.
That sounds great. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks.
Thank you for joining us on Face to Face. We would like to thank our sponsors, Oak Tree Development and the Community Foundation for Greater New Haven, and Brad Ross for the themed music. You can follow us on legacytheaterct.org.